Good afternoon. Thanks for staying with us. New trade tariffs are expected to take effect on imported chicken soon, which could mean that the price you pay for chicken might go up. The tariffs were announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa after chicken producers said they were unable to continue producing chicken at the same price as companies importing chicken were. Several countries around the world sell the breast meat of their chickens to the European and North American markets. They sell the thighs and drumsticks, sometimes called the brown meat, to countries like South Africa. That means they can charge less for the chicken pieces they sell than our producers can in a trade practice known as dumping. That's because they've already made their profit in other markets. The SA National Consumer Union is now calling for government to help the local chicken producers here. Dr. Cliff Johnson is the Vice Chair of the South African National Consumer Union. He joins me on the line now. Dr. Johnson, good afternoon to you. What do you believe government should be doing? How do you think it should be helping our chicken producers in this situation?
Well, you know, all that we're concerned about is we are the consumer union and the voice of consumers. And the concern we have about the increase in import tariffs is that the effect is going to be to increase the price of chicken to consumers. And we all know that chicken is a staple for the poorest of the poor, and there's quite a lot of them in this country. I think something like 18 million people are getting social grants at the moment. So our concern is that, yes, we understand the problem of the local chicken producers here, but we must also understand that consumers have a problem if the price goes up.
Are there any other ways around this? I mean, you're correct that if you enforce tariffs, you find that means that the price of chicken goes up. It's difficult to know exactly by how much. But at the same time, our chicken industry is a massive employer. We need those jobs.
Yes, of course we need the jobs, but you know, people also are hungry, and the huge, much bigger number of people who are very poor have no way of absorbing a price increase. You know, they spend all their money, first of all, on things like accommodation and transport, and what little is left goes into food, and it's usually not enough to keep them through to the end of the month. So all that happens is if the price of chicken goes up, people eat less. And we think that's an important issue. And, you know, we're only looking at this from a consumer perspective because, with respect, we are a consumer body. We're not the government, and we're not making the final decision on this matter. That is for the government to do. But just like the labour union and the industries have their lobby, which don't give much concessions to consumers, we are now giving our point of view, which doesn't take into account the other aspects. Somebody else has to make that decision in the long run. But what I am saying is that definitely if the import tariffs go up, it will cause hardship to a very large number of very poor consumers.
Do you know if anyone's actually done the maths yet and how much money we could be talking about? Obviously, we've got to wait to see the final tariff figure. At the same time, we've got to see what our industry does and how it responds. It could be about a year before we actually see the full impact coming through the market until we know where we are.
That's very true. You know, the only thing that we do know, and I think economic theory tells you, is that if you push up the tariffs, the inevitable result is in a free market system, the local price will go up, particularly if the imports are the things that are keeping the prices down. So we don't know by how much, and I think that's anybody's guess. But, you know, for the poorest of the poor, even a very small increase is still, it means that amount less food they're going to eat that month.
It would strike me, just speaking off the top of my head, it would seem that the obvious way around this is that if you have a tariff, you actually do get revenue in. So government gets more revenue as a result of that tariff off that imported chicken. And maybe that money needs to go straight to the local producers. That would be a way of keeping prices down. Obviously, it would have to be managed very, very carefully.
I wonder if that would happen. You know, the market doesn't quite work that way. If that money was to be given in the form of, I don't know, some sort of subsidy to the poorest of the poor, that might do something and help them pay the higher prices. But once you have a tariff there, it doesn't matter how you support the industry, the price will rise to match the price of the imported product in the end.
Dr. Cliff Johnson, thank you very much indeed, Vice Chair of the South African National Consumer Union.